Mosquitoes are members of a group of about 3,500 species of small flies within the family Calicidae. The word mosquito is Spanish for little fly. Mosquitoes have a slender segmented body, one pair of wings, one pair of altera, three pairs of long hair-like legs, and elongated mouthparts. Mosquito. Temporal range 99 to 0. Scientific classification. Kingdom Animalia. Phylum Arthropoda. Class Insecta. Order Diptera. Superfamily Culicoidea. Family Calicidae. Migan 1818. Subfamilies Anophelinae. Calicinae. Diversity 41. Genera. The mosquito life cycle consists of egg, larva, pupa, and adult stages. Eggs are laid on the water surface, they hatch into motile larvae that feed on aquatic algae and organic material. These larvae are important food sources for many freshwater animals, such as dragonfly nymphs, many fish, and some birds such as ducks. The adult females of most species have tube-like mouthparts that can pierce the skin of a host and feed on blood, which contains protein and iron needed to produce eggs. Thousands of mosquito species feed on the blood of various hosts, vertebrates, including mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and some fish, along with some invertebrates, primarily other arthropods. This loss of blood is seldom of any importance to the host. The mosquito's saliva is transferred to the host during the bite, and can cause an itchy rash. In addition, many species can ingest pathogens while biting, and transmit them to future hosts. In this way, mosquitoes are important vectors of parasitic diseases such as malaria and filariasis, and arboviral diseases such as yellow fever, chikungunya, West Nile, dengue fever, and Zika. By transmitting diseases, mosquitoes cause the deaths of more people than any other animal taxon, over 700,000 each year. It has been claimed that almost half of the people who have ever lived have died of mosquito-vectored disease, but this claim is disputed, with more conservative estimates placing the death toll closer to 5% of all humans. Family. Mosquitoes are members of a family of nematoceran flies, the Calicidae, from the Latin calex, genitive calicis, meaning midge or gnat. Superficially, mosquitoes resemble crane flies and chironomid flies. As true flies, mosquitoes have one pair of wings, with distinct scales on the surface. Their wings are long and narrow, as are their long, thin legs. They have slender and dainty bodies of length typically 3 to 6 arm, with dark gray to black coloring. Some species harbor specific morphological patterns. When at rest, they tend to hold their first pair of legs outward. They are similar in appearance to midges, another ancient family of flies. Tocona Gaiosurica akamusi, for example, is a midge fly that look very much alike mosquitoes in that they also have slender and dainty bodies of similar colors, though larger in size. They also have only one pair of wings, but without scales on the surface. Another distinct feature to tell the two families of flies apart is the way they hold their first pair of legs. Mosquitoes hold them outward, while midges hold them forward. Like all flies, mosquitoes go through 4 stages in their life cycles: egg, larva, pupa, and adult or imago. The first 3 stages, egg, larva, and pupa, are largely aquatic. Each of the stages typically lasts 5 to 14 days, depending on the species and the ambient temperature, but there are important exceptions. Mosquitoes living in regions where some seasons of freezing or waterless spend part of the year in diapause, they delay their development, typically for months, and carry on with life only when there is enough water or warmth for their needs. For instance, Wyomia larvae typically get frozen into solid lumps of ice during winter and only complete their development in spring. The eggs of some species of Aphids remain unharmed in diapause if they dry out, and hatch later when they are covered by water. Eggs hatch to become larvae, which grow until they are able to change into pupae. The adult mosquito emerges from the mature pupa as it floats at the water surface. Blood-sucking mosquitoes, depending on species, sex, and weather conditions, have potential adult lifespans ranging from as short as a week to as long as several months. Some species can overwinter as adults in diapause. Distribution. Mosquitoes are cosmopolitan, worldwide. They are in every land region except Antarctica and a few islands with polar or subpolar climates. Iceland is such an island, being essentially free of mosquitoes. The absence of mosquitoes in Iceland and similar regions is probably because of quirks of their climate, which differs in some respects from mainland regions. At the start of the uninterrupted continental winter of Greenland and the northern regions of Eurasia and America, the pupa enters diapause under the ice that covers sufficiently deep water. The imago emerges only after the ice breaks in late spring. In Iceland, however, the weather is less predictable. In midwinter, it frequently warms up suddenly, causing the ice to break, but then to freeze again after a few days. By that time, the mosquitoes will have emerged from their pupae, but the new freeze sets in before they can complete their life cycle. Any unautogenous adult mosquito would need a host to supply a blood meal before it could lay viable eggs. It would need time to mate, mature the eggs, and oviposit in suitable wetlands. These requirements would not be realistic in Iceland, and in fact, the absence of mosquitoes from such subpolar islands is in line with the island's low biodiversity. Iceland has fewer than 1,500 described species of insects, many of them probably accidentally introduced by human agency. In Iceland, most ectoparasitic insects live in sheltered conditions or actually on mammals. Examples include lice, fleas, and bedbugs, in whose living conditions freezing is no concern, and most of which were introduced inadvertently by humans. Some other aquatic diptera, such as Simuliidae, do survive in Iceland, but their habits and adaptations differ from those of mosquitoes. Simuliidae, for example, though they, like mosquitoes, are bloodsuckers, generally inhabit stones under running water that does not readily freeze and which is totally unsuited to mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are generally not adapted to running water. Eggs of species of mosquitoes from the temperate zones are more tolerant of cold than the eggs of species indigenous to warmer regions. Many even tolerate sub-zero temperatures. In addition, adults of some species can survive the winter by taking shelter in suitable microhabitats such as buildings or hollow trees. Pollination. Several flowers are pollinated by mosquitoes, including some members of the Asteraceae, Rosaceae, and Orchidaceae. Greek mythology. Ancient Greek beast fables including the elephant and the mosquito, and the bull and the mosquito, with the general moral that the large beast does not even notice the small one, derive ultimately from Mesopotamia. Origin myths. The peoples of Siberia have origin myths surrounding the mosquito. One Ostiak myth tells of a man-eating giant, Panagus, who is killed by a hero but will not stay dead. The hero eventually burns the giant, but the ashes of the fire become mosquitoes that continue to plague mankind. Other myths from the Yakuts, Golds, and Samoyed have the insect arising from the ashes or fragments of some giant creature or demon. Similar tales found in native North American myth, with the mosquito arising from the ashes of a man-eater, suggest a common origin. The Tatars of the Altai had a similar myth, thought to be of native North American origin, involving the fragments of the dead giant, Andalma muus, becoming mosquitoes and other insects. Modern era. Winsor McKay's 1912 film How a Mosquito Operates was one of the earliest works of animation, which has been described as far ahead of its time in technical quality. It depicts a giant mosquito tormenting a sleeping man. The de Havilland Mosquito was a high-speed aircraft manufactured between 1940 and 1950, and used in many roles. Thank you. Please subscribe and share this channel.